Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to this new edition of the morning briefing. First of all, happy Monday and a good start to the week to everyone. Happy Easter just passed. Today in Italy is a holiday, as in all of Europe and in some other parts of the world, but not in the United States, which is why I thought it appropriate to do the morning briefing. Today I have obviously provided the daily and weekly levels, except for the DAX, which, well, it is closed, so the levels will be provided tomorrow. Perfect, I've made this brief introduction. Let's get started right away. Today, of course, there are no important data, from macroeconomic releases and due to the semi-holiday. A little bit for the whole world. So, let's stay focused on the technical aspects. At the moment, we had an opening yesterday. Well, a bit downwards. The movement which then continued throughout the night phase, and we find ourselves this morning with ES in the 5260 area. So, well, from the opening around 40, so situation which is already starting to feel a bit heavy early in the morning. Keeping in mind that obviously volumes today will be lower, especially due to the absence and closure of the London market. Okay, having said that, let's start as usual with the Nasdaq. Let's go to do a recap. Maybe we'll look at it on a broader time frame. Let's set it to 4 hours, okay, for understanding for a moment where we are positioned. Let's say that essentially at the moment we are... let's remove for a moment all these lines. Perfect. Okay. We are positioned right above this then, with that PV area that we had identified as an area absolutely to keep. So we are working right above it. In short, slightly below. So at this moment it needs to be monitored. In my opinion, it remains here. In short, the break at 17.9 in short could lead to broader movements, whereas in short a recovery could also start from here. Perhaps also in short, considering today's reduced volumes in the area of 18.7. In short, this PV here is a test of this maximum. Here, obviously, we will see what developments occur. At the moment, the direction seems to be bearish. So in short, let's hold on and watch the chart. So a break of these lows here could already allow for further bearish movements. It could also take the form of this triangle resting on this level here. Consider that today is somewhat of a half holiday, so the movements might not be reliable, but there will definitely be some, so we can certainly work. Let's move on to ES. Then, at the moment we are working on SD1, right on these lows, recorded on Wednesday. It's a similar situation, opening downwards this small channel that we are not going to break. But it seems quite evident to me. In short, if you want to redraw it, here it is. In short, nice, simple. You can adjust it a little just to have a reference. Maybe you can use the anchor lean reg indicator, which will certainly in short draw you one level or another, a channel like this. So at the moment, in short, we are working in this. In short, in this descending channel that could bring the price even lower, just like the Nasdaq with a breakout of this level here. So the 52-150 area for ES could certainly lead to broader movements in short and more downward. Why him too? In short, if we look at it on the 4-hour chart, here it is almost. Also rely here on this PV here, so we monitor. In short, we are really at a level to monitor, an area to monitor, because in short, this break could lead to broader movements and indeed strengthen downward, perhaps with a test right at this minimum here at 550, which then roughly corresponds with the VIX area of today's minimum expectation. So let's keep our eyes wide open on these levels, and obviously holding this area could give the same result as the Nasdaq. Perhaps it's a recovery right in this zone. So here, DRD0, 5,330, 5,340, and maybe remain oscillating here, precisely because of the discussion we had about the absence of market operators due to the holiday. And let's obviously also take a look at the other American bottom futures. Here it is. Let's start with the Dow Jones. It's a similar situation. Let's also look here at a 4-hour chart to have a broader view. At the moment, with this opening by Andrea, it opened below this level here, which was the one to hold. So the situation for the Dow Jones becomes a little more concerning. We are perhaps supported on SD1, which might hold and lead to a recovery with the breaks. And again, obviously at this moment of SD2, so around 38.640, which then corresponds to this low here on the 4-hour chart, could lead to a test of this area of lows here. We will then see what the situation might be at the moment, but certainly not good for the Dow Jones right now. Let's also look at the Russell. Let's check on a 4-hour chart. We are supported at this level here, holding a little better compared to the Dow Jones, which seems to be struggling. A nice little triangle is forming that we might be able to draw like this quickly. It might bounce here and continue in this triangle. Then we'll see if it breaks out and in which direction it will break out. Obviously, if it breaks downward, I expect a test of this area here. So the 1800 area, whose break would certainly lead to a test of the lows recorded Bushajap, which happened on April 4th and April 9th. So this area here in Mut absolutely needs to be monitored. On the upside, yeah, of course, holding this level and breaking out of this triangle could easily lead the price to a test of the 2000 area around 1980 to 2000, which could certainly be the toughest zone for the Russell to overcome. Perfect. The DAX is obviously closed today, so we'll skip it. Let's look at oil, which at the moment we can also see on the chart. Thank you. It has recovered a little bit in short with this nice candle Thursday. So it broke out of this, let's say this V pattern. Then a consolidation at the highs found strength and it broke the previous highs. Now it is retesting them from above. Probably a hold of this area here at 62.50. It could test again at 64, 64.20, whose break 64.20, whose break could easily bring prices back to test this area here, which corresponded to these lows, this whole area of these lows here. The pullback it had on this descent pullback, so a beautiful level. So area 66.80 could be the final target of these lows here. Then, well, we will see how it gets there and if it gets there. Especially, let's obviously move on to those who are tonight. It obviously surged upwards. It was already working on the day's highs. In short, a nice broad directional movement. Well, by now, it seems unnecessary to have to comment on it. It came out well. On Friday, it had, on Thursday, it had started to recover. Then it opened tonight. It immediately went to retest the previous highs, then worked a little below, then found the strength for a breakout nicely with force. They didn't even return to retest them from above. Such was the upward push at the moment. The movement continues nicely, precisely. Well, there might be perhaps a bit of a pullback with a recovery in the stock markets. We'll see what happens, but it's definitely something to monitor. In short, it's preferable to favor the long side on this asset. In short, let's obviously move on to the ASI, to the SPIG. Well, the situation is obviously mirrored. Obviously, it stops at Thursday due to the market closure, of course. Here it is. Well, the situation, we're still there. We're working here. So this is the area where it could start. In short, a recovery could be triggered or an exit from this, let's say, sort of figure that we have drawn. In short, last week,
an exit. Here could then lead to broader and very bearish movements, with a test of the lows recorded at the beginning of April.
Perfect. As we said, there are no macro data, so be careful anyway, because on days like these, there might be tricks by highly capitalized operators who might clean up the book, so be very careful anyway. Today, Cesar, have a good start to the week, everyone. As always, leave a like on the video and follow me on social media. We'll catch up later in the chat. Thank you all for your attention.